Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Module 3. The third time's the charm. This is the third time I'm trying to record this, so hopefully this one will work. You did it. You're at Module 8, and I just wanted to say how very proud I am of everybody. You've done excellent professional work, and I hope that the class was beneficial. Of course, this is advanced methods of teaching literacy, and it's advanced because we're really looking at justification. We're looking at the why of literacy. And if you kind of think back, we started with looking at what makes good research. We looked at theoretical frameworks. And then we went through various topics once we kind of have that idea about a theoretical framework and what makes research valid and reliable and scientifically based. We talked about things like early childhood, trauma-informed teaching, struggling readers. We looked at digital resources, diverse learners, and our last topic today is writing. So what are we going to do for this week? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you about. So let me share my screen. So this week, Module 8 is applying scientifically based research to writing instruction. Go in the Learn section, and you have one article that at the top that everybody needs to read. It's called "The Sciences of Reading and Writing Must Become Fully Integrated." So this article is a research article that talks about the integration of reading and writing and how they need to be taught at the same time. And when you do that, students increase in reading and in writing. Down below, there are two guides. One is for secondary students and one is for elementary. You do not need to read both of these guides all the way through, as there are over 90 pages. You do need to scan it and use this as a resource as you think about your paper, which is due this week, your Philosophy of Teaching Literacy paper. So those are the two things to read. I really want you to watch this video right here because it includes important information about this week's big assignment, which is writing a Philosophy of Teaching Literacy paper. So that'll be important that you watch that video. And then there are other examples and videos that you can watch about how to develop that. Now, this week, I'm not going to make you do a discussion post. So you do not have to do the discussion post. I think you have enough work writing your paper. So no discussion post. So we're going to skip that. And we're going to go to the big assignment, the end. So instead of having a final exam, this is the final exam, so to speak. So we're going to have a Philosophy of Teaching Literacy paper. Again, watch the video. It'll give you specific questions. But what you're going to do is you're going to answer the question, what makes an effective literacy teacher? Reflect on that question. Reflect on the readings, the activities from this course. You're going to write your philosophical statement. You need to think about those theoretical underpinnings, about research that we've looked at, and your own teaching history. Your philosophy, of course, should be faith integrated and demonstrate how you're going to integrate your beliefs into your teaching. Make sure you use concrete examples as you anticipate, or if you are not teaching, make sure you use examples as you anticipate your own teaching. So as you do this, I want you to think about the topics that we've covered that I just listed, those things like early childhood, trauma, struggling readers, digital resources, etc. If you watch the other video, that gives you certain questions that you might want to think about as you write your paper. As you write this paper, one of the requirements is you need at least 8 peer-reviewed sources to back up your philosophy of teaching literacy. And the paper should be 8 to 10 pages long. This does include your title page and your reference page. So it could be 6 to 8 pages in text because part of that is your title and your reference page. So this is a summary of everything we've learned for you to think about your own personal philosophy of teaching literacy. But again, it's not just an opinion paper, it's backed up by resources, it's backed up by your theoretical framework as you consider what will make you an effective literacy teacher. So that's the big assignment for the week. Now I'm going to go back to um, s- uh, something at the beginning, an article that I talked about, because I want to talk to you for a minute about writing, because I think this is really, really important. One of the articles that I asked you to read was an article that was about the integration of reading and writing. So let me pull up that article for you. Here we go. So this is a really good article that has, it talks about the reciprocal relationship between reading and writing, um, and how writing improves reading and vice versa, and how those two processes need to be taught together. So it's a great article. I hope you look at it. This may help you as you consider your own philosophy of teaching literacy. One quote that really stuck with me was at the very end, and this was a quote by Darlene Hammond, and she has written a lot of literature, uh, especially related to professional development schools. And what she said is, classroom change involves more than creating better teachers. You might say, what? That's the crux is better teachers. And it is true, but it also involves creating better systems. We have to have systems in place to support teachers, to support students. So I really like that quote. I'm just going to ignore that because I do not want to start a fourth video. Okay, so that will be a really good article for you. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you was something that I created when I was a principal, and it shows some writing. And so, since that's what we're talking about today, I wanted to share this with you. And it aligns with what you learned about um, in the article about um, um, integrating writing and reading. So, I'm going to see if I can download it instead of doing this so that you can see it a little bit better. Here we go. Okay, let me make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, so sorry, it's taking me a bit to. Okay, here we go. So this was something that I created with my teachers to show them the kinds of writing that we did at the school I was at. So it aligns with the article that you read. So four kinds of writing. Normally people say three, I added a fourth. The first kind is polished writing. That polished writing is, if you are familiar with the Common Core standards or any standard in your state, they require students to go through the writing process and to write an informational piece, a persuasive piece, and a narrative. And so polished writing is inside and outside the classroom, but it might be but kids go through that writing process. They do pre-writing, they do a draft, they do revising, they do editing, and then they share their work. And that's when we think about writing, that's sometimes what people always think about is that polished writing. It could be articles, it could be editorials, brochures, personal narratives, scripts, memoirs, so many different things going through that writing process. That's one aspect of writing. But in the article that you read, we talked about that integration. Another big part of writing is what we call writing to learn, or I'm sorry, writing to demonstrate learning, or other people call it readable writing. Let's show what you know, showing what you know. This involves things like constructed responses, answering a question, task based writing assignments, applying knowledge, synthesizing. It could be a short answer, an extended response. It could be an exit slip, postcards to the teacher. whiteboard responses, all these different things. But it's a way, it's a method for students to show what they know. Show what they know in social studies, show what they know in science, to show what they know in these other areas. When you think about the audience of polished writing could be anybody. It could be parents, it could be other students, it could be teachers. You could have an audience that just uh, beyond the school. When you think about writing to demonstrate learning or to showing what you know, the audience is usually the teacher, right? So that is shorter writing where, again, the students are demonstrating what they know about the content. I often do this in my classes, my undergrad classes, as maybe exit slips where they have to write a paragraph about the information that was taught in that lesson. Then we have what we call writing to learn, which is called provisional writing or getting knowledge and keeping that knowledge. This is taking notes. It could be annotations, it could do graphic organizers, and we all need to do this. I know in my graduate classes, I create for every class a note taking where the students have to take notes uh, as I'm um, as I'm teaching, and they fill in those guided notes. And that's been so helpful for engagement. That's writing to learn. And so, writing to learn could be annotations, it could be, um, again, anchor charts, all of that's writing to learn. The audience is the student, right? A teacher's not going to grade writing to learn, but we're writing for lots of different purposes. The last type of writing to think about is writing to reflect. These are things like this is to deepen our understanding, to store up ideas, to explore thoughts. So it's going to be journals. I know I do a prayer journal every day, a home journal, writer's notebooks. And again, the audience is a student. So I wanted to, and if you want me to share this, I can share this with you as examples. And then at the bottom, we have some important things to remember. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but it's basically we need to create a literacy culture where all of our kids should be familiar with writing in every subject nearly every day. A student is more likely to write in social studies, science, and technology than they're going to be a novelist or a poet. So it's important that we link reading and writing together. And so this isn't anything new, it's been around a while, but as you are thinking about writing and your own philosophy of writing, think about the different types of writing, that polished writing, that writing to share, the writing to demonstrate learning, the readable writing, writing to learn, that provisional writing, and then that writing to reflect. And so I do not mind sharing this with you either if you would like me to. So this week, again, you have one article to read, the guide you're going to scan. And the purpose of that reading is to help you with your paper when you think about writing. There is no discussion post. I think you'll have enough work to do this week. You are going to write an 8 to 10 page philosophy of literacy. This will be your last assignment for the module. Make sure it's an APA, do all the citations like you've been doing. And again, watch the other video. I think that'll help you. You guys got this. I'm very proud of you. And I hope this is an opportunity for you to really reflect and share what you've learned in class and the type of literacy teacher you want to be. Okay, thank you. Congratulations.